Welcome to the Movie Podium. We are in our third episode of the Movie Podium with friends. I'm your host, Matt Scott, and I'm here with my dudes, Daniel.
Ew.
Eric.
Hello.
And our guest coming back for a third episode, Sawyer from Filmhaven Reviews.
Hey. Thank you.
So for this third film, we lost Tim Burton and Michael Keaton, and we were also kissed by a rose on the gray, whatever that means. And without further ado, we present our next movie.
Courage now. Truth always. Batman forever.
Cheers.
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 Do it backwards.
And I kiss from the rose on the grave.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Nice. Ready for
We are
some random
blessed.
ass facts?
Let's go.
Dude,
Yeah, let's
I've
just
got
dive
random
in.
ass facts myself.
Oh, great. Can't wait. Got a 5.4 on IMDb, or a negative 1.6 Thor. That is the lowest we've had.
No
Really?
way. Really?
Yeah.
Dude,
If
this movie is not that bad.
Also, 5.4 is not. I mean, it's bad, but it's not that bad. I'm
I
surprised.
don't know. It's pretty
I'm
bad.
surprised that you got. Well, you should look at the IMDb for the next movie. 'Cause
Oh, yeah, I know.
it's
All
way
I'm
worse.
saying is that Tim Burton got like a courtesy 1-point bump on Returns because
Yeah.
it's Tim Burton.
Yeah.
you
If
think
Tim
it
Burton
should
had
just
done
be a
this
Thor?
exact same movie, it would at least be a 6.6.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Interesting. That's a really good point. I mean, Joel Schumacher is definitely at that point like a big director. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he didn't have the artistic integrity
right.
Right.
that Burton has.
That's fair.
Eric, do you want to give yours first?
Speaking of artistic integrity, let me just
Oh.
jump in right here.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Tim Burton was quoted as saying he didn't like the name Batman
Oh.
Forever because it sounded
Yep.
like something someone would say on drugs or get tattooed on them, I think.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or
yeah.
put in a yearbook.
Yeah, or a kid would write in a yearbook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
I
that
mean-
on mine, too.
That kind of tackiness is just about right for this movie, honestly.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The tackiness is what makes it stick in your mind.
It's true.
Oh, man. That's true. So, talking about Keaton not being in this, he turned down $15 million to be in this movie. So once he found out Tim Burton was out as the director and how the movie was going, because they were originally going to do Batman Year One, and with Tim Burton, and everybody was on board, and that just fizzled out. And especially after Returns and the whole McDonald's fiasco and the money that didn't or was left on the table. And also Michael Keaton just said it just looked awful.
Yeah.
Straight up.
It's a little different.
So once he quit, they had multiple suitors for Batman, of course. They had Alec and William Baldwin.
Yup.
They had Ray Fiennes, Keanu Reeves, Dean Cain, who was
Whoa.
obviously
Superman.
not chosen because, yeah, he was Superman.
Right.
And Ethan Hawke, who said he actually regretted not doing Batman later on.
I love Ethan Hawke, but
Me too.
the I just don't know the Batman voice. Like when he's in suit, I just don't think he's got it.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I would absolutely love to see Keanu Reeves play Batman.
He has the Batman voice.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the action stuff with John Wick, right?
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true.
Could have seen it. for
Dude,
sure.
imagine a John Wick style Batman movie.
That
Like
would
with
be
that kind of-
ass.
That kind of choreography.
Yeah, just
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Batman kicking ass for an hour and a half or 2 hours. Yeah,
Right.
I'm down.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And what movie was this year? What was this made?
95.
That's what I thought. He was too busy doing Johnny Mnemonic.
Oh, that's right. Speed it came out right before this as well. So we also talked about casting what ifs with Robin as well,
Right.
and how what Marlon Wayans was going to be or signed on to be Robin,
read
and
that,
then
yeah.
Schumacher bought him out. Well, before it ended up going to Chris O'Donnell, they had Matt Damon tried out, and they did not give it to him, but they did offer the role to Leonardo DiCaprio.
Whoa.
who declined.
Yeah.
Dude, speaking of being
Wow.
bought out, they had to buy out Billy D. Williams' contract.
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
he
That's
was
right.
he was under contract to do 2 movies, and they wanted someone more famous, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So they
Which
got Tommy
we-
Lee Jones.
Yeah, we touched on that in the first Batman podcast. Which, yeah, I mean that brings me to another one. Tommy Lee Jones
You're welcome.
actually did not want to be in this movie.
Yeah.
He said that he was, or apparently he was not fun to work with on set. Even told Jim Carrey that he hated him.
Yes.
And you can kind of tell he doesn't want to be in this movie when you
100%.
watch the movie. Apparently, it was only because his kid was insistent on him being in the movie that he ended up actually being in the movie.
Yeah, I read that Joel Schumacher called. Apparently, they did some work on The Fugitive together. Like Joel Schumacher had something to do with The Fugitive. I tried to look him up on the cast and crew, but he wasn't. But it was a Hollywood Reporter article I was reading, and it was coming from his mouth. It was a quote, and he said that he called Tommy Lee Jones and was like, "You just won an Oscar. You know, you should do this movie." And Tommy Lee Jones read the script and yelled at him and like told him to fuck off. And then he called him a couple hours later and was like, "I'll do it." And I think I think that it may be in conjunction with your story. Like his kid talked to him
Yeah,
and was
that
like,
would be
"You should-
my guess.
You should do it." And
Yeah,
that
do
was
it,
what
Dad.
convinced him. But
Yeah.
it seemed like Tommy Lee Jones was not having a good time, and most of it too was because he was in 3 hours of makeup from 4 or 5 in the morning before
Solid
every
point.
filming day, and
Yeah.
that's not really kind of stuff he does. He doesn't really do a lot of makeup-y stuff.
No, not at all.
This is a weird role for him.
It is
It's
definitely a
very
weird role for him.
out of left field for him. 100%.
Also, I had another quote from Tommy Lee Jones to Jim Carrey, and that is, in addition to "I hate you," I cannot sanction your buffoonery.
Wow.
I feel like I've heard of that. I've heard that.
Yeah.
That sounds really familiar.
Wow. And
It seems like a nice guy. Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Working that long with Jim Carrey might open you up to a certain kind of violence.
That's
We'll
fair.
get to that later. I've got thoughts.
Yeah. That's fair. Any other facts?
I've got
All
a
right.
few, but there's really just one. There's a couple that I'm
Go
gonna
for it.
I'll put in later because it's more like appropriate for the questions that we're doing. But
Yeah.
one of them was that there's a lot of production value. Like this movie had a lot of production. We'll get to that a little bit later. But one thing was the Batmobile was very unwieldy. Because of
Oh,
that,
really?
that back wing that's so weird.
Yeah.
Yes.
it like the first day of shooting, the stunt driver wrecked the car. He was trying to do a 360 and he just crashed into the side of something. And the production people, I think it's Barbara Ling, is the production designer, and she was like, "This is okay, great, first day, and we already have to fix the Batmobile."
Oh my god.
It is pretty funny because, like, when it's
forgot
on
about the
screen
wing.
going, you can see that back tail like
Yeah,
wobbling.
it's flapping.
Honestly, if
I
you take the
forgot
wing
about
off, I like the car a lot better. It's that back bit that's just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dorsal fin.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you see? There's one scene where it actually splits and it has like actual bat wings. I clocked it. I can't remember. It was like
Oh,
2/3
man.
of the way through. He's driving.
Yeah, it
it.
becomes like a spoiler.
Yes, and I'm
Damn.
and then it
did not
closes,
missed
and I'm
it.
like, so this is wow. But yeah, the other ones are I can put in later.
Sounds good. All right. Let's do it. Let's get into the questions. First question. Favorite thing about the movie? Let's go to Eric since you're the new guy. on
Everything.
Yes, perfect.
Sorry, let me see. I said the Batmobile looks sick.
Yeah,
Like with the like the black ribs and the blue under. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, that fucking awesome.
yeah,
Little Eric, kid Eric,
yes.
loved it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had the toy.
Yeah, I think it's I
Yeah,
agree.
me
It
too.
looks awesome, dude.
Yeah.
A lot better than a Hummer,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for real.
Yes.
Like,
Like
if
no,
we're being
actually,
honest.
no, actually, and it's the first thing you see in the movie, pretty much too, which is awesome. It's just like
Yeah.
welcome to this movie, which is so different. Like it's immediately telling you this is not Tim Burton's Batman.
I know. I thought
Because
that
he
too.
says, "I'll get drive-through."
Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?
I'll get drive-through.
Yes. What's? Dang, you're taking a favorite line.
I'm
man.
so fuck. I'm Johning it up. I'm sorry.
I mean, there's a lot of opening parts that you're like, this is not Tim Burton. I mean,
Right,
one of
yeah.
them's just seeing Batman in the first 10 minutes.
Batman Returns. It was 34 minutes before you saw Bruce
It's
Wayne.
insane. All right, Daniel, what about you?
I've got a few.
All right, let's hear.
And most of these are in relation to Returns in '89. But Batman doesn't kill.
Good.
Even Two-Face's death is Two-Face overreacting to losing his coin and falling,
Right.
as
Yeah,
opposed
sure.
to Batman shoving him or something like that. And not only does Batman not kill, but he turns Robin away from killing.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
Dick
I do
wants
like that.
to murder Two-Face, and Batman's like, hey, you'll carry that the rest of your life. It won't help anything, and it's all this change from a Batman who literally put a bomb down a dude's pants and shoved him in a well.
It is really interesting because I was rewatching some scenes earlier, and in that scene where they're first kind of talking about revenge and all that stuff, he kind of, it's a weird way that he convinces him. He convinces him almost by example. He's like saying like, you can do whatever you want to do, like you go your own way.
I can't promise I won't kill Harvey. A man's got to go his own way.
It was like his influence that finally won him over. He had to get to that point where he had to make or break that moment, and
Yeah.
then he decided to do the right thing.
And Batman like understands, like he
Right.
kind of like doesn't push back and just says, all right, like yeah, I'll let you do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it's up to
I've
you.
given you all my guidance.
Exactly.
Right.
He
Now
lets
it
him
falls
do it.
upon you to choose the type of man you are.
Such a Bruce
Yeah, I
thing
like
to do.
that too. Yeah, exactly.
It's also a Bruce thing to do to gatekeep being a Dark Crusader, because he there's that scene where it's the earlier scene where he's talking about revenge, and he's like,
Killing Two-Face won't take the pain away. It'll make it worse.
what a Bruce line, like
yeah.
Get on your motorcycle and leave.
right.
Do you have anything
Yeah,
else?
I've got two more points.
right.
Number one is real quick. It's actually a Batman movie.
Yeah.
It's not a movie about
Yeah, I
villains.
figured- I
It's
knew
a
you'd
movie
say
about
that.
Batman featuring villains,
Mm-hmm.
which is a breath of fresh air,
True.
especially from Returns,
Yeah.
which is just a dark, dreary villain movie with
Mm-hmm.
appearances by Batman. And
Yeah.
Batman actually grows in this movie as a character.
Yeah.
There's some growth
true.
for him. And at the very end, he chooses Batman, as opposed to it being something he has to do. He chooses to continue as Batman.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
I definitely agree with that. Well, apparently Joel Schumacher actually did read the Batman comics growing up. Like, he was a Batman fan. So he actually was a fan of the comics. He really wanted to put the comic book on the screen. And you could tell that with all those colors that he added
Yeah.
comparatively to Returns and the first one. Especially Returns, which was so dark. And it was almost monochrome, but with blue.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I dig this Gotham, too.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different Gotham.
Definitely.
But it still has enough of the gothic stuff mixed with the neon that I think
yeah.
is just
It's
really
Neon Gotham. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the colors too, like you said, Sawyer. Like, it just made me think of comic, or like
Yeah.
a cartoon.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's way more cartoony. Would definitely
Yeah.
get into that. That's very true.
Yeah, definitely. Dan, do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Sawyer, what about you?
So, great transition to Gotham. That's my favorite part of the movie. Is just like at basically the first two movies. It's just, I love Gotham. I love Gotham. I love the production design, and it's, even though it's a little off, I think I prefer Batman Returns. Sorry, Daniel, but it's like, because I love the painted backdrops. I'm missing a little bit of those. It's more practical in this movie, which is like really crazy. Some of the practical sets they did, which brings to some of these random ass facts that I have. For example, in that first scene, the intro scene with he's on the big strip and he's coming in. That's actually Wall Street. They lit up
Whoa.
the entirety of
Okay.
Wall Street.
Whoa.
And then, so I was reading about that in the production, once again, that Barbara Ling, she was talking about how you would not do that today. You just CGI stuff,
Yeah.
But like, we literally spent 3 days before the production to light up Wall Street, clear it off. I love this Batcave as well. This Batcave is awesome.
Oh hell yeah!
And I remember, cause this is the Batcave that I remember growing up. Like, cause I was watching the first two again recently, and I was like, they're so understated. Like, you just see little bits.
Yeah,
you don't really see the whole thing.
Yep.
But in this one, like, it's the beginning of the movie. He's right there in the Batcave, coming up with the car and coming out. And apparently, that turntable for the car is 6 stories high. Huge,
shit.
Which doesn't even make sense to me. But that's what Barbara Link said.
You only need like 2 or 3 stories.
Well, here's the thing.
Ooh.
That this was actually built. They couldn't build it in a regular studio, stuff like that, a regular set. So they went to Howard Hughes Spruce Goose Dome in Long Beach. So Howard Hughes, back in World War II, made this Spruce Goose, was this massive plane that was like it was like the biggest amphibian plane ever, and it only had one flight. But in order to make that thing, he had to make this massive dome.
Wow.
And so the dome was so big, it was like the production team was like, we have to do it there. So they built the Batcave inside the dome.
Howard Hughes.
My gosh.
This movie really did kind of sell me as a kid on the production design. So even though it's not maybe as good to me as an adult as Batman Returns, I really do appreciate, like you were saying, the neon-infused Gotham is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Eric?
Also, I was gonna say that, like, similar to the Batmobile and the Batcave being built inside the dome, it's kind of like Dark Knight Return or Rises Return, the one with the Joker. They had to build the bank inside a soundstage so they could run a bus in through the wall. So they could they had to rebuild a bank inside of a structure, which is just crazy.
That's crazy.
Classic Nolan, very much.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I mean, so my favorite thing, and I can kind of relate to that. I have a little bit different, but I do want to talk about the appeal as a kid. I do agree from a kid's point. This was probably the one that sticks out to me the most as a kid, right? Like, we were at prime age, too. I mean, this came out in 95. We were 7, 8 years old. And so, I mean, they were catering to us, literally.
100%,
So, like, I remember all the McDonald's cups. I remember the Seal song, Kiss from a Rose, the
Hell yeah,
music
you do.
video. So that is a really good point. I think that does have some value to it because, I mean, if I show my kids, they might like it more than Returns just from that aspect, right? So if we're looking at it, yeah, right. I mean, so if we're looking at it from that lens, that's a good point. So my actual favorite thing, though, is I do like the introduction of Robin. I like Chris O'Donnell a lot.
Yeah.
I think he nails it, and from an athletic standpoint. From an acting, he's fine. He's charming. And I just like, and we talked about it a little bit in the other ones, I just like the dynamic of Batman and Robin, because Batman, you know, his story is that he's this lost guy or kid with no other family, he's an orphan other than with Alfred. And so this is something that he almost needs, right?
Yes.
As not just a partner, but someone younger that he can literally get under his or put under his wing. And so I just like that they introduce Robin. We get a background, and we actually see it happen in real time, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's something that you don't necessarily see anymore, and it's like it's chronologically. You actually see what happens, and then it's the origin story, which just doesn't feel like we get a lot of that anymore. So I like.
Well, today
that
we
dynamic.
do, but it's a movie.
It's the whole movie.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We don't get to see what happens, and then they become a team, and I mean, it's
right.
Yeah. So I think they do that really well, actually.
I like that they kind of mixed. They kind of mixed Dick Grayson and Tim Drake as far as attitudes go, because Tim Drake's kind of like street urchin kid, like rough and you know, kind of rebellious, and Dick Grayson is, you know, with the trapeze artists and stuff. Like, I liked that vibe, the biker, and
yeah,
I love how that's how he got him to kind of get on board. It's like, oh, you just fill up your gas over here in my garage.
So you're almost on empty. Why don't you fill it up in the garage? There's not a gas station around here for miles.
Yeah, it's Jason is the rough.
Oh, sorry, you got it. Tim Drake's the more police like.
He's
more
the detective of the three of them.
That's right. Sorry. Thank you, Daniel.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Nerd
Jason's
alert.
the brawler, Dick's the acrobat, and
Yes.
Tim is the detective of the three.
I was thinking of Jason.
And Jason's the one who Batman found when he was trying to steal somebody's car, right?
He was trying to steal the wheels
Jason.
off the
The
Batmobile.
wheels. That's what it was. Off the Batmobile. Yeah, that's right.
So he caught him,
that's
and he was
awesome.
like, "What are you doing, punk? Stealing
Yeah.
my wheels?"
All right, next category. Least favorite thing about the movie. We'll go back to Eric. We'll swing back. around
Nothing.
Right. Perfect.
No, listen. I know that these movies are not good. I understand. But
Oh my god.
they are amazing.
Yeah.
So, my least favorite thing is the scene where Dick is like impressing Alfred with like his martial arts, just fucking doing the laundry.
I had to bring that up too. I was going to bring that up.
That is the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
Seconded only to the scene where how he gets into the Batcave by parkouring through the foyer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what is going on?
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty outlandish.
That's when you know you're out of Tim Burtonville too. Like you just
Yeah.
like we're really
Yeah.
somewhere else now.
For sure. Daniel, what was your least favorite thing?
I just have one more thing to defend this movie. I just thought of it.
Yes.
Okay.
This movie, compared to Returns, is very simple and straightforward storytelling.
Yeah.
It's not wildly swerving all over the place, all the mayor stuff and all that stuff.
Right.
I just want to throw that out there. So this movie is a much easier movie to consume than
Oh,
Returns.
yeah.
Returns, you have to be paying attention.
Yes.
This
it's
one is just like
nonsensical.
it's
in
just
some
like
ways.
bad guys. Batman
Yeah.
fights the bad guys.
Yep.
It's very straightforward.
Yeah, cut
Yeah.
and dry.
Yeah. As for the worst parts of this movie, I have two. One is Two-Face is really underdeveloped.
No,
Yes.
you're stealing one of mine, but yeah.
Yeah, the whole backstory for Two-Face is like a 30-second TV thing, like former district attorney Harvey Dent. He's a bad guy now.
Though Batman tried to save him, Dent's left brain damage transformed him into a violent criminal.
Yeah.
yeah.
Literally.
It was literally a TV. Yeah, it was a TV. Like.
Why
spot.
was Batman in the courtroom?
he jumps after him?
jumps out. And then somehow Harvey gets the acid spilled on him in the
It's like a parody. It really feels like a parody. Like it's not real.
I don't know why that would be your least favorite thing. That's fucking hilarious.
It's great. It's great. Yeah. Depends
It
on
is
how
funny,
serious
but-
you're trying to take it.
But you can do really interesting stuff with Two-Face,
Yes.
as seen in The Dark Knight and the animated series.
Yeah.
And they just did not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Flip a coin.
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like watching it back. I did not like Tommy Lee Jones' portrayal of Two-Face or like
God,
the
no.
character. It like he was trying like I don't know. He's like trying too hard to be a comic book villain,
Yes.
and it just
Yeah.
wasn't landing for me.
Yeah.
Whereas like Jim Carrey, I think he really fucking nailed it with
Yeah.
being
he's
a villain.
natural. Well, he's
Yeah,
natural.
but yeah, I agree. Is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
in
say.
this movie, they were going for zany villains.
Yeah.
and
Right.
Tommy Lee Jones was trying to be zany, where Jim Carrey just
Is
naturally
zany.
is zany.
yeah.
I do think that yeah, I agree. I feel like it was like really it was kind of like Temu Joker. Like it was like let's get the kind of off-brand Joker because that's what he was playing, that over the top like I'm wacky, I'm weird, and I don't care and I'm kind of insane, and that's like kind of Joker. He was trying to be a chaos agent. He even used the word chaos a few times and I'm like
yeah.
that's Joker.
Yeah, exactly.
Harvey Dent's a little different than that.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, he's not chaos. But Dan, do you have one more? You said.
Yeah, the other one is any pretty girl gets to know who Batman is. Like, oh, you're pretty? I'm Batman.
The movies
I mean,
aren't-
there's a history of it in the comics happening. Catwoman, Talia, basically any pretty girl gets to know who Bruce is.
Nicole Kidman's character is probably the most shoehorned female lead, like of the three that we've watched. It was just like she's
Sure.
just there. She's a psychiatrist.
Hot entrance.
She likes Batman, but she also likes Bruce.
And now I have you, and I'm wishing you were somebody else.
I need to bring up real quick
Oh, wow.
another least favorite thing. The Rorschach in her office,
it's a bat.
100% a fucking bat.
It's a bat.
Yeah,
not
She
a
it's
planted
Rorschach.
it. She planted it.
It's a goddamn bat.
It's a bad.
That made me laugh so
100%.
hard. I'm like, what else are you seeing here?
I know. Nothing else.
Yeah, would you pause it and like flip it around?
Like, yeah, let's
rotate
move it around, see what we can get.
it? So what was your least favorite thing?
You guys have touched on a couple of things. One of the things that's interesting, because Daniel said that the movie is more straightforward, and I do agree with that. And I do think that there are some parts that are pretty nonsensical in this film, but it's not the actual story. The narrative of the movie is pretty straightforward, and I think one of my problems with the movie is that it's so surface level. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some things, we've already gotten into a couple of them, the Batman Robin relationship, that was okay. Looking back, I'm like, okay, there's some stuff here. And one thing I saw, it's not really a random ass fact, but it's more like just their thinking in the movie was there's a duality between every character. They did that intentionally. So
Oh, yeah.
like every
Yeah,
single
for
character
sure.
has like, because Edward Nygma, that's his alter ego, which is the Riddler.
Question mark, man? No. But you can call me the Riddler.
And you have Batman and Batman and Robin both have theirs, Bruce and Dick.
I need a name. Batboy, Nightwing. I don't know. What do you think? What's a good sidekick name? Robin.
And then, of course, even Chase has a duality with what she wants. She
Right.
wants Batman or Bruce. So there is some things to get into, but when you're looking at like the way that we broke down Batman Returns, the way that they treated those villains, they're so deep, they're so fleshed out. Even the way, I mean, even if it's just a little bit of time, the way that Catwoman and Batman interact with each other is just, it feels a lot like it has a lot more depth. I mean, it's not a kid's movie, so that's probably part of it. Watching it, I wasn't as intrigued. I was more just like popcorn. It was very much like Edward Nygma's little, TV brain thing, ironically.
Yeah.
Was that it was
Yeah.
just kind of like sucking into my brain, and it's like, ooh, pretty colors, and oh look, he's taking the Batmobile up a wall for some reason.
Oh yeah, he is, because it's badass.
Right. Well, they talk about that too. That they didn't. The production design people were like, "You want me to do what?" Like, and Joel Schumacher was like, "No, you're gonna take it up a wall." Like,
Oh my god.
he was so excited about this movie. But yeah, that was one of my issues. And honestly, okay, so I know this is probably gonna get some heat, but I love Jim Carrey. I grew up on Jim Carrey. The Mask, Ace Ventura, those are like two of the biggest movies of my childhood. I used to run around acting like the Mask as a kid. I love Jim Carrey. But I was getting Jim Carrey and not as much Edward Nygma. He was like, he was so Jim Carrey, especially before he actually switched.
Yep.
By the end, when he was really embodying the Riddler, I was kind of getting more into it. It was a little better. But when he was Edward Nygma, that whole scene with the TV thing, I remember that.
Sucking up your IQ. Vacuuming the cortex. Feeding off your brain.
I remember that scene so well as a kid, but rewatching it, honestly, I was kind of annoyed. I was like, when is this going to stop? It's like overload. It's just like,
Yeah.
this is too much. And it's basically like he's giving Ace Ventura and the Riddler. Like
I
a lot of his
100% thought of
movements
that.
and the way he's talking, it was just Ace Ventura, which we know that Jim Carrey has the ability to do other things. I mean, he is like the Truman Show or any Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He can be serious. He can be so many different types of characters. He doesn't have. It's not just Ace,
Right.
So that was kind of one of the things that annoyed me a little bit.
Daniel? No, absolutely agree.
I will 100% agree with you. Jim Carrey in this movie, there are scenes where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that was passable. But
Right.
there is a lot of Jim Carrey doing Jim Carrey stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it does wear on you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when he's supposed to be another character, Dumb and Dumber or something like
Yeah,
that. It's like,
sure.
oh,
Good
do
point.
all the Jim Carrey stuff you want because that's what I'm
Right.
here for.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also talk about. I know Daniel and I are big on Paul Dano.
Oh, I
being,
love that Riddler.
Like that
So
Riddler's amazing, right?
Amazing. I was so blown away by his performance. in
Darker,
that.
obviously,
Yes.
but it hits better, I think, and from a
Yeah.
villain standpoint.
Yes.
Now,
you enjoy
again,
the
if-
riddles too. It's fun.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't mind. Again, it does bring back memories when he has the chess board or whatever puzzle
Yeah.
scene, and some of the other puzzle scenes are like fine. I mean, yeah, they're nostalgic, I guess,
Nostalgic.
but that's where I leave that.
It was hard for me to watch this movie and kind of parse, like, just like kind of with the others, but with this one in particular, it's like, is this bad or do I like it because I just love this movie as a kid?
Oh,
Like,
I mean, that's the whole.
where does
yeah, absolutely.
Listen, it is bad, but you love it because you loved it as a kid. And I am right there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a really good way to put it.
I'll put it
Oh.
somewhere in the middle. I think it's
Yeah.
better than people give it credit for.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
it's a lot worse than I used to think about it as a kid.
I-
I mean,
it's
in my
2.2, I
personal
believe.
opinion, I enjoyed this movie more than Returns. But I understand why everyone thinks Returns is the better movie.
I do think it's closer than what I was giving it credit for, but I do have some least favorites.
Yeah.
You guys already touched on the Two-Face. I honestly think he's the least compelling villain in the entire Batman movie series that we watch. I would take Mr. Freeze from a storyline perspective.
At least he has Nora.
Exactly. And Poison Ivy has a backstory. I mean, everyone in the entire Batman universe has a story. And his is like Daniel said, a commercial. Like an average, like just a news
Literally.
blip. And then the character himself, there's no development of him. We don't really understand anything other than we're supposed to think he's bad. And at the end Bruce Wayne just puts a bunch of coins in the air, and we're just supposed to understand that that's going to make him go crazy and die. Like he can't help seeing all the coins. Okay, what like yeah, let's spoon feed us. But my other thing is, I couldn't take the corniness. There's just too many. Like the party scene and with Batman fighting, and all of the Gotham citizens are just cheering him on and watching. Like what? Because then you have like Batman smirk after Chase Meridian says there's someone else. I'm like, oh god.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah.
That was going to be my AB repeat. Like, that is so funny. I wrote a note being like, Batman
I thought of that,
smiles
too.
so hokey. Like, what? There's a couple
Yeah.
AB repeats when he leaves the big party, the same one you're talking about, I think, to go
Yeah.
change, and there's like a comically large ladder that he's sliding
Yeah.
down. It's like 10 floors down, and I'm like, oh, yep. Sure.
Okay, there we go.
Oh man.
That's not how fire escapes work, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't stand Commissioner Gordon being basically a cheerleader for Batman. Like when
Yeah.
Batman's like in the air and he's like, "Go, Bat!" I'm like, no, sorry. Yeah, I couldn't take this Commissioner Gordon very
It's so
much.
funny because I grew up with this Commissioner Gordon, and I always thought of him in an affable way. Like, he's kind
Right.
of like a fun guy. Like, oh, yeah. But I realized he was hardly in the first two movies.
He's
In this one, he actually gets to see him, and he's just like a fun idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he is.
And I'm like,
For a
I
guy
like that.
who was Batman's original partner in crime,
Yeah.
right.
like the triumvirate between Harvey, Captain Gordon, and Batman,
Yep.
and none of that is referenced, and that's just plenty of stuff you could have for the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The Batman does it so much better.
Oh,
Jeffrey Wright does
Jeffrey
such a
Wright.
great job.
Love it.
And again, Gary Oldman, but they just have more interaction with Batman in an intelligent way.
Yeah.
And that's all I need. I don't need a ton of stuff. I just need somebody who's, like Daniel said, part of the detective storyline.
Right.
Well, that's in the animated series. He was great.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's not like you
definitely.
can't have him in a kid's story because
Sure.
he was
Yeah.
great in the animated series.
Yeah, I wonder why Schumacher went that way with him.
I mean, Gordon's been pretty major in almost every iteration of Batman. It's just
But Burton
these
didn't
four
do it
movies.
either.
I was going to say,
yeah,
these 4 movies
right.
are just...
Yeah, agreed. Kind
It's
of
not
weird
there.
how that turned out.
It is weird.
All right, next category. Who won the movie? I'm going to go first because mine's pretty short. I said Warner Brothers because they ended up making more money than Batman Returns.
Yeah.
They
This
weren't
was the
expecting it either.
Yeah, no, I mean, they were not expecting it. It ended up being the highest grossing film in 1995.
Yep. And some people were even saying it on that article I was reading that it was only going to make $30 million. That's what some people were saying before. And it was like, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's nuts. Sawyer, what was your least favorite? Or sorry,
Who won the
who
movie?
won the movie?
I was
So
going to say kids. Kids won the movie,
Yeah.
including
Good
myself. Because in the end, this movie made a lot of money and it was very merchandisable. And so I think it was just one of those things that everybody. I had the Batmobile, like we were talking about. I had that blue Batmobile, and I thought it was the
Same
coolest
here.
thing I'd ever seen. And
Yep.
also, I was looking up at the toys. It was actually a funny little thing there. They couldn't get anyone to make the toys. Like no one wanted to make and distribute them because of Batman Returns. They were like,
Wow.
all that stuff that was going on. It's too dark, all that kind of. And they're like, no. It's actually going to be like more kiddie. Like, trust us. And they were like, nah. There's only 2 distributors that actually said, like, let's go with this. And they held their nose. They didn't even want to do it, but they did it. And it was Walmart and Hasbro. And they ended up making a killing because they were the only 2 that said, okay.
Wow.
And so then they made a ton of money. So
Wow.
kids won the movie, and I guess Walmart and Hasbro. Toy makers.
Wow.
Toy
Yeah,
makers won the
toy
movie.
makers. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, well,
And
I mean, they did introduce not just a new Batmobile, but a new Bat plane, and introduced the Bat boat.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Plus,
Yes.
Right.
plus you needed your Robin
You had
for your
Robin,
Batman
yeah,
toy
for
that you
sure.
already had.
Yeah.
Plus Two-Face and Riddler. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, and I remember also the video game.
Yeah,
came
that
out.
was
And that was
hard
a
as
pretty.
crap.
It was hard, but it was better than Returns. I like the original Batman game. Eric, who won the movie for you?
I said Jim Carrey because he was like he was the one that I thought nailed it the most in the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about it. I think if you're looking
So
for
you're
that,
muted.
oh yeah, I think if you're looking for that zany comic book feel,
Yeah.
he definitely nailed it. Right?
I think
which
I
is
mean
what
that's
Schumacher was
yeah,
trying to do.
Obviously that's what they were going for, and he fit in. That puzzle piece was gigantic and it fit exactly in where he needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I complained about him being the Riddler, he was about 1 billion times better than Two-Face.
Yeah,
And he
agreed.
was certainly, like, his character written wise was somebody who had depth. If there was a villain that had depth, it would be him. There
Yeah.
were
Yeah,
some
definitely.
things like, you could say mass media commentary, stuff like that. He
Oh
had
yeah,
something
I
to
kind of
prove.
like that. Yeah.
There actually, I forgot. I had a quote from about Joel Schumacher was talking about the Riddler and Jim Carrey, and he said, "I think the audience has to feel with the Riddler that he can outsmart you. We sort of feel that with Jim, where they are just ahead of you, like in real life, like when they're working with him, that he could outsmart you and yet be totally insane. We just decided to do Riddler on steroids, which is exactly what it is. It's Riddler,
Yeah.
but like Ace Ventura. It's like just injected a little insanity. Like, I mean, Riddler's always insane. He's got like a little bit of a... He loves riddles a little too much. And he's got like a... he does have a persecution complex as well. That's part of it, is that he's blaming Bruce for everything. Oh, but that was part of it too with the duality things. They wanted I forgot about that. So the Riddler, his nemesis is Bruce Wayne. He doesn't like Bruce.
Oh yeah, I like that.
And
Yeah,
Two-Face doesn't like
Yep.
Batman. And
I
so
noticed that too.
there's a big theme of that duality once again coming back again, and I thought that was cool too. I didn't think about it until afterwards once I read that, but it totally
Yeah,
there's like
I
a
noticed
weird
that
amount of
too.
depth, even though it's kind of very surface level at the same time. I don't know how to square it, honestly.
Daniel, who won the movie for you?
I'm gonna go with Val Kilmer
Hell yeah.
because I think Val Kilmer played the role really well.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the best written Batman. I don't
Right.
think it's the best performance as Batman.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think Val Kilmer did a really good job doing both the Bruce and Batman aspects. Because when
Yeah.
he was interacting with Dick, it felt like real interactions. Like he actually
Yeah,
cared
I
and
agree
wanted
with that.
to help
Yeah.
him instead of let him go his own way.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an over the top performance like a lot of the performance in this movie.
Yes.
It was a very understated and I think well done for this movie.
I feel like he has the voice down, but
Yeah.
he's not acting right. Like it's like
Yeah.
it's almost like he sat in the mirror and like for months before he got the role and was like, let's get the voice for Batman and do
Yeah.
Bruce. And,
Which,
and like he
yeah.
got it down to a T. Like I really do like his voice as both.
Bats aren't rodents, Dr. Meridian.
And as we've seen, even some of the best Batman or people playing Batman have gotten the Batman voice wrong.
Where were the other drugs going?
Even though he's not the best at either, he's the best at both.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
That's fair. All right, next category. Favorite line from the movie.
I had it first.
All right,
I had it first.
Okay.
All right, Eric.
Oh no! It's boiling acid!
I was gonna say my worst, like at first, my least favorite part of the movie was that guy. 'Cause
No,
he
fuck
is
you.
so
No.
annoying.
No,
He's so annoying.
no. Don't you even dare.
It's so much louder than all the other audio
Oh, yeah.
in the scene. He is just deafeningly annoying. It's bad, but that is a great line.
That's
Especially
I was-
because acid doesn't need to be boiling to be
Right.
dangerous.
no. As soon as Matt told me we were doing this, I wrote that line down
Yeah,
for
that's
my favorite line because it's so ridiculous.
well. It's like the your nose could be gushing blood of returns.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
Yeah.
hot boiling acid.
It's the AB repeat of lines.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got another one too, but I'll wait.
All right, Daniel.
If you kill him, he won't learn nothing.
If you kill him, you won't learn nothing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a
that was
Riddler
it.
line talking to
Yep.
Two-Face.
Oh yeah, I
Right.
remember it. Yeah, that was after they knocked him out.
Yeah.
Sawyer, what about you?
Yeah, I actually had a hard time because there's obviously a lot of corny lines, but there was one that stuck out to me, which was "Holy rusted metal, Batman."
Holy rusted metal, Batman! Huh?
What?
And what's funny is, well, obviously it's some kind of play because obviously there's like an old, is it in the show or something
Yeah,
where
the
he says,
60s show.
Yes.
Holy insert the blank Batman.
right?
Yeah.
Was,
It was
something
I-
Burt Ward as Robin would always say.
It
Yeah.
was the second word that I couldn't figure out, and it's because it's interchangeable. That makes sense. I was just like, what is the word he actually says? But in this one, what's great too is that it's actually holy rusted metal. Like there's holes in it. It's not just like holy doo doo. It's like actually
Yeah.
like so it was kind of meta a little bit there. Which
Yeah,
I
he
did-
thinks it's going to be a rock, and it's a
Right.
rusted metal
Thing, yeah.
with holes in it.
So when Alfred's explaining to Grayson what's in the locked room, so there's a lot of things before I preface that with, as much as I rip on all of the corny comments or lines, I actually thought it was funny when Alfred goes, "Master Wayne's dead wives?"
What do you got back there?
Master Wayne's dead wives.
Like, it was an actual funny line. I was like, whoa,
Right.
that was weird. That wasn't too corny.
Yeah.
Like, and it happens to be
it's
Alfred.
Alfred.
I think
It's
that's
because
why.
it's Alfred.
Yeah.
I know, which makes it better, right? Again,
Yeah.
we talked about this before. This Alfred is pretty good from that
He's
aspect.
awesome.
And
Yeah,
it's so
I like-
dry, too. His delivery
Yes.
is so dry.
It is, and that's great for
Yeah.
Alfred. That's what Alfred should be, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of cheesy one-liners that just don't work. And
Yeah,
even
agreed.
even the second one had a lot too, honestly.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
Be fair. But it was wrapped in that like corrupted veneer. You didn't really think about it too much, but in this one it really stuck out like a sore.
Oh, yeah. Eric? You got another one?
The second one that I had was the boss, Ed Bagley, I think, his character to Edward Nygma. And it is, "You demented, bizarre, unethical toad."
You demented, bizarre, unethical toad. It is brain manipulation.
Oh,
Because
Yeah.
that's such a bizarre string of insults to someone.
yeah, that is. Wow.
Oh yeah, that whole scene.
That
Daniel-
reminded me. There's actually I think Jon Favreau is in this for like
He is.
half a
He's in a
second.
cameo. Yeah.
Yeah,
or he
I
has
was
a
like,
cameo
is that
in this.
Jon Favreau?
I had riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
Oh yeah, that stuck
Yeah.
out. Like as a kid, I definitely remember that. I
I
knew it
always
was
remember that one.
as he was saying it. I was like, oh yeah, there it is.
Yep.
I also there was a couple of just dumb lines like there was one because obviously Nicole Kidman is being very aggressive in this film like
Oh, yeah.
from
Yeah.
the very beginning.
For
She
sure.
wants the Bat D, and she's gonna get it.
Yeah.
And then one of the
100%.
first scenes, they're on like the roof, and she
Yeah.
says something very forward, and he goes, "You trying to get under my cape, doctor?"
Well, I wish I could say that my interest in you was purely professional.
You're trying to get under my cape, Doctor?
And I'm like, the fact that you have to make Batman say this is just, where are we at?
Daniel, do you have any other ones?
No, but thinking about that just makes me think about how this movie is such like a pendulum swing.
Yes.
Like they started with 89, which was pretty dark, and then they went to Returns, which was super dark, and they're like, "Yo, we got to get out of here." So this is more kid friendly. And then by the time Batman and Robin, the pendulum has swung too far that way.
Oh, that's
What?
100%,
No.
that's 100% correct, and you can actually see like the reason for it in the production as well. Like or when they were making the movie, they literally were like, "Oh no, Batman Returns was way too dark. We made a killing, but we didn't make as much of a killing as the first movie. So let's shift gears. Let's
Yeah.
put Joel Schumacher on it. Tim Burton can be a producer, and we'll
Yep.
just go from there." And Joel Schumacher said, "Neon," and and then that worked out, and it was such a big success. And there was a couple of things. I'm going to hold it for next week or next time we talk, and because there's a lot more. Like I think one of the reasons why the last movie is so bad is because they were like, "Oh, this worked. Let's do it to death."
Let's lean into
Let-
it.
Yes, they leaned it to that, and especially with the merchandising because they
Yeah.
they were on the fence, right? And so they got Hasbro and Walmart to do it, and then they made a killing, and so now they're like, how many other things can we add so that we can make more toys? And it's
Oh, yeah.
that's such a 90s thing as well. 90s was like the era for like content creating
Steroids.
toys. Yes, yeah.
We got our podium roles next. So, is this a podium role for any of the top billed cast members? So, let's start at the top with Val Kilmer. Is this on his podium?
No,
No, not even close.
Eric can't even tell us. Can't even say yes.
no.
No, I obviously no. I don't. I mean, yeah. I don't know if it's on anybody's until you get lower and lower and lower, and it's Alfred
Yeah.
because he's only in 4 movies, and the one after this isn't any better.
Yeah,
But-
it's crazy
And
how
his
stacked
podium
this
rolls
is.
anyway, so
Yeah.
if he's in 4
Fair.
movies and it's these 4 movies, then
And he's
yes.
Alfred.
Yes, that's fair. But yeah, Val Kilmer is obviously not. I mean, he's had a lot of success. But if we're talking about his podium, I said Heat. That's a great movie that he's in. That he's one of the main. He's like the big bad guy
Right.
in that movie. And then from there, I don't know. What do you guys think? Top Gun,
Yeah, Top Gun.
Man, I had such a hard time with this.
Tombstone for sure.
Yeah.
I
So
literally
that's where I'm like,
I had 3. I had the podium, and I had 3 outside looking good. That's
Oh,
how
oh.
stacked he is.
another one is The Doors because he
Yeah.
plays Jim Morrison. That's such an iconic character in our
Right.
our world. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just somebody that everybody knows. So
That's what I
role-
had
and it
as
was-
number 1.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
yeah,
I'm
I would
talking.
agree
I'm
with
thinking
that.
like leading bits. I did like the
Yeah.
Doors, and then of course he's not leading in Tombstone, but Doc Holliday is like probably the best part of that movie. And
Yeah.
so, at least in my opinion, as
Yeah.
far as acting goes, like so
Yeah.
good. So I had that at 2, and then Real Genius. That was
Oh,
one of
yeah.
his first ones.
First
and
ones.
main
Yep.
character, you know.
Yep.
But then you got Top Gun, Heat, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
so many good movies. Like it's
Yeah,
literally
agreed.
crazy.
Yeah, no, I forgot about Real Genius with Anthony Michael Hall. That's right. Yeah, he definitely helped start, or that helped start his career. I think The Doors is number one, though.
Yeah.
Let's go to Chris O'Donnell next.
I said
I actually
yes.
said yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not just
I mean-
like it's because money and when most
Yeah.
people think of Chris O'Donnell,
that's
they
fair.
think of Robin.
Yeah, I
Like
guess
that's just what he's
true.
known
Weird.
for,
Yeah.
even though he
You're
was
right.
in
Or
better
NCIS
movies.
guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true.
I also have Vertical Limit on here.
Yeah, I
And
was gonna say I think of Vertical Limit too.
I just watched that with my girlfriend like a couple months ago. I
Oh,
love that
man,
movie.
it's been a long
actually
time.
it's actually great. It's literally the most 2000s film you'll ever see. I mean, they're literally going at the top of K2 and they have to save his Chris O'Donnell has to save his sister, and so they take the Iran is having a war with Pakistan, and they're friends with the Pakistani military who also Boba Fett, the guy the actor who plays him.
Oh, wow.
And they take nitroglycerin in canisters and put it on their backpacks, and they're taking that to blow up the top of K2 so they can get his sister out.
Oh, my God.
But it's like well done, actually. Like I mean, it's like an intense film if you can get over the obvious craziness.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time. I mean, I barely remember it.
Same, I had hardly remembered, but I was so glad I rewatched it. Definitely
I-
watched that movie.
I said Son of a Woman at number one because he is literally Al Pacino's right hand man or his eyes and that, and he's so good in that. I also said Fried Green Tomatoes because I grew up on the movie, so it's more sentimental than anything. I mean, he's great in it, and
My
yeah,
parents love that movie.
so
Yeah,
did
it's
my
a great
mom.
film. I was late to that movie. My girlfriend actually showed it to me.
Oh,
and,
really?
Such a good movie. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
really
one
good.
of the first movies I remember as a kid.
Wow.
And I don't know why. Just my mom loved that movie.
Cannibalism. So the first movie
Yeah.
that you ever saw involved cannibalism. That's great.
Yeah, isn't that wild? And then
Little tiny baby Matt.
I had debated between
Learned
this
about
and
cannibalism.
Three Musketeers.
Yeah, that was on there too. I mean, it was a big movie at the time.
Let's see. So next would be Tommy Lee Jones. Said no.
God,
He's been in a
no.
lot of good movies.
Yeah,
so.
what's your 3, 2, 1s? What's you guys' 3, 2, 1s?
I said The Fugitive.
Yeah.
Man in Black.
Yep.
Men in Black. And then I think number one, this was really hard. I said No Country for Old Men,
Yeah.
but I could see an argument for a few other movies like U.S. Marshals was really good. I really like
Sequel
that
to The
movie,
Fugitive.
which is exactly a sequel to The Fugitive. But yeah, I don't know, something about No Country for Old Men. I really, really like that movie, and he really makes the movie in a way like he is the guy who's too old. You know,
Yeah.
like.
He's the old man.
Yeah, exactly. He literally represents the movie. So
Yeah.
that was my number one.
I can't believe you guys didn't say number one, Small Soldiers.
I can't believe Eric didn't say it. Eric loves that movie.
I do love that movie.
I
I
had
was
that
going to
VHS,
mention
I loved it.
Volcano
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Volcano.
because he was awesome in Volcano.
Oh, there's so many good ones. Double Jeopardy.
Yeah.
He's just in so
Double
many good
Jeopardy.
movies. I put Men in
Yep.
Black as number one though, because
Yeah.
I know that it's maybe not critically his best film. I think he won for The Fugitive, the Academy, but
Yeah.
when you think of Tommy Lee
It's
Jones,
huge.
it's Men in Black. At least
Yeah.
in my head, that's the first thing
I
I
think so,
and
too.
then I move on to the other stuff.
All right, there's two more. This is a pretty stacked cast.
It
if
really
you compare
is.
it to the first one we talked about. We didn't have a lot. You had Billy D. Williams,
Yeah.
like not exactly the same name as Jim Carrey. And at the
Yeah.
time, Jim Carrey was through the roof. Like in '94, I think he did Dumb and Dumber,
Yeah.
The Mask, and Ace Ventura all in 1 year. Can you
His
imagine
'90s
that?
run is probably one of the best decades of an actor.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, it's
And
incredible.
how much money he made in that 1 year? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then Forever, who knows what he made? Like, yeah, he just went on and on. I said This one's probably the easiest. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
For Jim
Um,
Carrey.
Yeah, for
Oh,
Jim
yeah.
Carrey.
And this is also a hard one to pick what the top three
Oh,
would be.
I don't know
Like,
if I
'cause what
can
are-
answer.
Yeah, what's
seriously.
the actual criteria? Is it like best
Uh,
actual movie or most successful movie or what? Because like
Yeah.
most iconic role, I had Ace
Oh, I
Ventura,
know.
Eternal Sunshine, and Truman Show.
Nice.
But
Damn.
I've
you
got
could really
Dumb and
just
Dumber in place of Ace Ventura, and the other two are the same.
yeah. But you
Yeah.
can really mix it with so many others, honestly.
Yeah, depending on
Yeah.
your personal criteria for it.
Bruce Almighty
Yeah.
was huge at the time.
Yeah, Bruce
Everybody
Almighty
loves-
was gigantic.
Oh yeah, it was.
Everybody
pretty big.
watched that movie.
I
If
mean,
you were-
he
Yeah, I
became the
remember
first
seeing
actor
that.
to receive $20 million for The Cable Guy.
oh,
Oh, I
Cable
forgot
Guy's
about the
great.
Cable
And
Guy.
that
Cable
movie,
Guy's
I think,
great.
sucks. But
Oh,
the fact that he got paid $20 million for it and became
Puts
the
him on
first
a-
actor to do that is
Yeah.
pretty well, that's pretty important, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
his ability
Yeah.
to ride the line between
Oh,
comedy
he's so good
and
at it.
drama. I mean, he honestly, him and Robin Williams are very similar, which is funny
Mm.
that they were like kind of
Yeah, both.
up for the same role. And
Yeah.
this movie was actually written for Robin Williams, like the actual script. They wrote
Mm.
all those lines with Robin Williams in mind, and Robin Williams actually liked the script. They just went a different way. That was at least what I read.
So I would say Eternal Sunshine, Dumb and Dumber, and Truman Show. Probably Truman Show number one.
Yeah, that's what I
just-
had as number one.
I don't know,
Yeah.
just the range of his acting in that.
It's his best role probably,
It's
and also
captivating.
it's probably one of his most famous. Like as far as if you mixed like fame and critics appreciation at the same
Yeah.
time. Like Eternal
Yeah.
Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a famous movie for how like kind of I don't know cult
artsy it was,
classic
that
it
was.
is.
Yeah,
like it's
yep.
like not everybody knows, but if you know most people who like movies at all are like
Yep.
yeah, Eternal Sunshine's great. But Truman
Yep.
Show, even your average Joe watched that. They thought it was good.
Mhm.
And it's critically good.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. All right, last one. Nicole Kidman. I said
No.
nope.
No, this one's even harder than any of them, honestly.
Yeah, that's
God.
fair.
Besides
Yeah, she's
maybe Jim Carrey, like you said. Like they're
Yeah.
probably on the same level as far as just iconic, like so many good movies.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, 100% hard to nail down. I said The Hours is probably number one because
She
she
won that.
won
She
an
won.
Oscar for it.
And the face, the makeup, and
Yeah, she nails that. Then you probably, well, I would say Moulin Rouge.
number two.
She's so good in that. She's,
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
her
she's
movie.
yeah, that is her movie. I think so. And then the other one was kind of tough. I said Eyes Wide Shut just because it's wild.
Yeah.
Like she
does
takes
great
a,
in that too.
yeah, she's really good and she takes a chance, which
Yeah.
she doesn't always do. So I felt like that would probably be my three. But there's a lot of good ones, right?
Oh,
There's
Cold
Days
Mountain.
of Thunder.
Cold, yeah.
Yeah.
Cold Mountain. I would
Cold
say,
Mountain.
That's probably
Yeah.
one of her most famous. That's why I had it at number 3. So also, I'm from Nashville, so Nicole Kidman's kind of like our patron saint, besides Dolly Parton, because
Yeah.
she lives just south of in Franklin, just below us, and so
Oh,
like
really?
Her
I-
and
I
Keith
didn't
Urban
know
down
that.
there just hanging out.
yeah, so
Oh,
she's been around
duh.
for a long time. So like I seen her. I saw her at Starbucks one time, Belmead.
Really?
And then there was I have a friend who has gone to the movies with her twice. And check this out. Like not as a friend, they just happened to be in the same movie. One was to see the Muppets Christmas with her family. But also, this is the best part. Do you guys have AMCs up there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, obviously the Nicole Kidman AMC thing.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Eating
It's
the
the best part
popcorn,
about
yeah.
going to the movies is
Yeah.
seeing
Yeah.
I got it down like every word. And anyway, so she was at a Regal both those times. She went to a Regal. So
That's awesome.
we know what she's really doing. And she actually also filmed him this is like so many weird Nicole Kidman things, but she filmed him a scene from a movie that's coming out soon called Holland, Michigan, right next to my house. Like the producers came up to me and was like telling me to not have my car out because it's going to be in the 90s.
Really?
And like,
Whoa.
yeah. So it'll be coming out kind of within the next year or so, but it's like a rabbit hole thriller. And it's the same person
Okay.
who directed the movie Fresh, Mimi Cave, which was a really good movie if you haven't seen that. But yeah, so a lot of Nicole Kidman love around here, around these parts.
Nice. Well, I'm okay with it. She's not bad to look at in Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Of course.
But I do like her. She's one of my favorites, actually, as an
Yeah.
actress, especially for Moulin Rouge. When I was a kid,
Yeah.
that was great.
And
She
she's
can
still-
kick a
she's-
punching bag pretty well.
Yeah.
Or punch a punching bag.
Oh yeah.
So we started off with doing Batman in 1989, and we went with the Podium movies of that year. We then shifted in 1992 to see what our Podium roles were for sequels in the 1990s. We have now changed it up again, and with the addition of Robin to our movies, we are now going to do Does the dynamic duo of Batman and Robin Podium for all-time duos?
That's all-time duos in film, correct?
In film.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I just would have had to change my answer a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, no, you can't say Michael Jordan, Sky Pippen.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about... Okay. Don't call me first.
All right, that's fine. Let's go with Sawyer first.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest. I totally forgot that was what that Podium was gonna be. So,
Oh,
I'm
Daniel?
sure-
Yeah, you
well-
can send it to me. I'll let
Well,
them.
actually,
Alright, Daniel
so
and I-
I thought instead maybe I could give you, since we didn't even talk about the bat suit, we would give my top 5.
Oh.
I really need some music. Yeah, there we go. That was a long drum roll. All right, so my top 5 is top 5 bat suits.
Wow.
Nice.
And so this is actually really hard to do because people have a lot of opinions about bat suits. And and I've got mine, and I know that they're probably, some of them are not very popular. So give me a little bit of a grace here. This is my opinion, okay? So first one is Batman Beyond for number 5. That was just, as a kid, I loved the more slender, the red and the black. I just thought that was so cool. Loved Batman Beyond, and when I'm thinking about different bat suits, it's just, or best ones, it just comes to my head. Now this next one, and I know, the Bat-Mech suit from Batman versus Superman, and I know that's like womp 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 for some people, but I really thought it was fun. Like that was my favorite part of that movie, was that whole fight scene between the Bat-Mech suit and Superman. I wish that they would have shown it more because it's Snyder and it's super dark and you can just see the glowing eyes most of the time. But when you actually look at the suit design, I really like the kind of, it's not quite Iron Man tank, but it's a little bit more slender. And I've read some comics with the Bat-Mech, and it's a lot bigger. I like that they kind of went more humanoid, and he's got like kryptonite in it, and he's punching with it. I like the idea of the Bat-Mech suit, and I like the design. And you'll.
I just think it was better done in The Dark Knight Returns, the comic book, than in Batman versus Superman. But
Right.
it's basically the exact same thing.
Right. Yeah, I'll have to look at what that looks like in there. I was actually trying to look at some other versions of it in the. There's one called the like super heavy bat suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's a bit of a theme here because I do like. Okay, number 3, Arkham Knight from the game. The Arkham Knight bat suit is so good. I love it. It's more armor plated, and it's even the cowl has some armor on it. And when you're playing the game, you have the old suit from Arkham City, and then that's one of the parts in the game is at the beginning you get the new suit dropped, and so there's a whole scene where he's putting it on, and it's got like the hydraulics that are putting it on and stuff. And yes, it's like I love it. It's a great, and it makes playing that whole game so fun because you're just looking at that suit the whole time. Number 2 is the Battinson Batman costume from the Batman. Very similar to the Arkham. That's why I was like, should I even do these two together? But it's more armored. It's like kind of like he's kind of tactical Batman. The bottom is he's kind of got like the tactical pants and stuff and the boots. I don't know if I like that as much as the top up. Love that part is so good. The pauldrons with the batarang, as I've talked about before. I love that the batarang is detachable. And then the way they do the cowl. Finally, we have where the neck is movable. You can definitely tell it's a little bit more stripped down, so he can actually move his head. And I think Robert Pattinson just looks great in it. Like he has the jowl for it, especially a young Batman. That's one of the things that Val Kilmer actually had in this movie as well. But
And the collar is so cool because you don't see collars very often.
The collar is
Batman,
awesome.
Suits. So that collar just is like, oh, yeah, he does look nice with the collar.
Like my favorite part of that movie probably is just all the still shots that are like really slow of just him just standing. You know, it's just like wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they use it in the movie too because like, his entrance, he just like walks out of the shadows slowly, and you just have all the time in the world to be like, whoa, look at he's the Batman. He's wow. And anyway, so number one is the Batman suit from the Batman animated series. It's just so classic. When you think of
That's
Batman
the right
costume, it's just that's what's in my head. And there's that shot of him on the building with the lightning striking behind him, and it's just the cape is going, and I mean it's just perfect. So yeah, I don't have a duos. I'm sure I've been trying to think because I didn't realize it until about one question ago, and then I was like, oh, I didn't do my homework. And then,
it's okay. You watched the right movie, so that's
and you gave Eric time. And you gave Eric time to look
do
up
his. I'm sure once you guys start talking about them, I'll be like, oh yeah, that for sure.
Yep. Daniel, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. No, Batman and Robin in film do not make my top duos list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 3, I have Vincent and Jules from Pulp Fiction. While not my favorite of the Tarantino movies, those two are the parts of that movie that I enjoy the most. The rest of the movie loses me some. It's still a great movie. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that my favorite parts of that movie are when Jules and Vincent are hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's
very valid.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Han Solo and Chewbacca. Two buds.
Yes.
I know you're number one. Then.
The two buds.
The two buds. I mean, one of those buds swore a life debt to the other one, so I don't know how much buds they are and master and servant they are. But it seems
okay.
like buds. Chewie is laughing at Han, and Han's like, laugh it up, fuzzball. You're kind of like, these two, they're buds. And then my number one dynamic duo in film,
I know,
Dr. Emmett Brown and Marty McFly.
Of course.
I knew you were going there.
Yeah, that's good.
They don't make any sense together, but they're so cool together. And like they go on adventures. They each learn from each other, which is neat.
Yeah.
Doc learns how to like mellow out a little bit and hang out and just enjoy the experience. And Marty learns how to be a little bit more responsible. It's like, oh, great. Plus, the movies are bangers. 1 through 3. All great.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're so iconic that literally Rick and Morty just like ripped off of it. Like and Rick and Morty is like one of the most famous animated series of our time, like in recent time. So it's just like that's how good they are that they can be ripped off and then just be so famous.
They've become an archetype.
Yeah. Exactly. That's
absolutely.
a good point. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, definitely. Eric, do you got a top 3?
I do. Yes. Okay. The in film qualifier made me rethink it. So
that's fair.
No, they do not make my podium of dynamic duos in film. I went a little bit differently, and recently we watched a lot of Star Trek. So number 3 is Kirk and Spock.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah,
Love
that's
that.
good.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just classic.
Yeah, they're great bros. Again, bros who shouldn't make sense to each other with each other that make perfect sense with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
And then number 2, one of the ones that I immediately thought of is Riggs and Murtaugh from Lethal Weapon.
Nice.
Oh,
He's getting too old for this shit.
Yeah.
Getting too old for this shit. He was like 40 something, I think.
Yeah.
When he first said that.
Yeah, he's still in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the instant Matt told me that we were doing dynamic duo, or whoever told me it, I thought of Carter and Lee, Jackie Chan, and Chris Tucker in Rush Hour.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Nice.
It's just
that's a
immediately
great answer
like
you.
Yeah.
And that's
you said
I knew that. Yep.
Yeah, you said duos on film, and it's like, oh yeah, Rush Hour right there, boom.
It's awesome.
That's great.
So those are my 3.
Buddy cops are a great way to go, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do have 2 of them. That's true.
You can do a whole podium just for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
83.
I mean, Men in Black you could have said as well. That's
yeah.
a great combo. And I didn't even think of that
Yeah.
Yeah.
until we talked about Tommy Lee Jones' Podium. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
duh.
This
That's
is
a
a
great
really
one.
difficult one.
It really is. I struggle and I crossed a bunch out. So my number 3 is the narrator / Tyler Durden in Fight Club,
Oh,
aka
yeah.
Edward Norton and Brad
Okay.
Pitt.
That's a good deal.
I just like Brad Pitt and Norton on screen.
Daniel's like,
Daniel.
Technically one person.
I know. Yes,
Actually,
read your mind.
I know. I just like the idea of that, though. The split personality on screen without the
Yeah.
viewer knowing for as long as it does, or
Mhm.
they do. And yeah, I just think Norton and Pitt together are just absolutely on fire in that movie.
I mean,
Like,
it's kind of become, I guess, a little trite to say that that's like one of your favorite movies, but it is one of the best movies
I
ever
know.
made.
And
Like, it's
it
just is.
It's weird because you're right. I don't even. It's hard to not say that, but at the same time, it has been overblown and all that stuff. But as a duo, I think they are awesome. My number 2, I'm surprised Eric didn't say Buzz and Woody.
oh
by
yeah,
Tim
I
Allen and
thought
Tom
about
Hanks.
them.
Yeah.
I thought about them.
That's iconic.
Yeah, and I said it mainly because I think the movie is probably more about their relationship and the coexistence
Yeah.
of those two personalities
Yeah.
as opposed to just the toys coming alive. Like that first
Right.
movie is carried by
Yeah, I would
Woody
go.
and
I would go
Buzz.
so far as to say like the first movie is about them becoming friends, and then like they continue to be a great dynamic duo through the rest of them. Like it's great.
Absolutely. I mean, you just said the other part of what I was going to say. Exactly.
my bad.
No, I mean that's you see it too, though. I mean, I just love how they start off by being foes and end up being the ultimate tag team. Like
Right.
from a character arc, it doesn't get better than that for a duo,
Yeah.
right? And then my number 1 is the same as Daniel's. I mean, I had said Dr. Emmett Brown and Marty McFly. Watching them navigate time travel together is about as pure and enjoyable as cinema as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and I'm like, how can I not? I just
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
do it.
literally
I
the
don't
moment
know.
this topic came up, I was like, Doc and Marty, and then I was
Yeah.
like, then I was
I
like,
had
all right.
Chewie, and I had C-3PO and R2-D2 cross
Yeah,
out. I had Chewie and Han, but then Woody and Buzz came up. The Blues Brothers were on there.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that they have enough of a difference in personality. Like when I'm looking
Yeah.
for dynamic duo, I'm looking at the dynamic of it, right? I'm
Right.
looking at-
Dynamic duo, not
Exactly.
same duo.
Groot,
Right, so
Groot and Rocket.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
great. Absolutely. Yeah, so there's so many good ones, but it was hard to narrow it down. All right. Well, thanks for tuning into our show.
You are so
Thanks,
welcome.
Sawyer. Thanks, Sawyer, for coming on again. We'll
Of course.
Yeah,
be
thank
doing
you.
Batman and Robin pretty soon here.
So fun. I love this.
Please like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on your favorite social media platforms for clips, updates, and opportunities to vote on a movie we watch, which we need to do another voting soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've got Steel Timber to get through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're on our
Spiel
on our
10.
way. All right. Later, guys.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.